Hey guys, I got a great question on my page. I get this pretty regularly. So, basically, what reps should I be doing for building muscle or losing body fat or whatever the question is? So, what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. For anyone that knows me, you know that I'm not tied to any one training system. I love running, I love cycling, I love swimming, I love doing bodybuilding, I love CrossFit. Particularly love bodybuilding and CrossFit. They're probably my two favorites style of training systems, which is funny because they tend to fall completely on both sides. Bodybuilders tend to hate CrossFitters and CrossFitters hate bodybuilders. Bodybuilders make fun of CrossFit people saying, oh, you'll get skinny and you're not going to put any size in that. And CrossFitters look at bodybuilders and go, oh, you have no function, you can't do any movements. So it's funny that, they're all training systems. And the reality is once you get people moving and you're doing something, there's no right or wrong training system. However, you talk to a bodybuilder, they'll tell you this is the way you should train. You talk to a CrossFitter, they'll tell you this is the way you should train. Same way as you talk to a triathlete, they'll say this is the way you should train. There is no right or wrong way, but you got to ask yourself the question, why am I training a certain way? I, a little bit while back, kind of broke the mold a small bit with my training systems where I started combining bodybuilding and CrossFit. Makes perfect sense to me. Bodybuilding builds muscle, it tears fibers. It's got, the hypertrophy of the muscle where you're growing, and your CrossFit's got so much volume and your heart rate gets so high. You're talking about 90, 95, 100% of your max heart rate on a Metcon and CrossFit. I started combining the two together. It's putting two approaches, two things together that work amazingly well. And it's funny because they're demonized on either side of one another. You got to ask yourself, what's the reason for something? It doesn't. This goes for every aspect of life. Whether you're in a job or a relationship, you're gonna ask yourself, why are things a certain way? Because we get so caught up in society. This goes for training in life. We get so caught up in society that things are only done a certain way. You go to school, you get a good leaving cert, you get a good, high school diploma or whatever it is. You get go into college, you do well in college, you do your 3-4 years, you come out, you get a good job, you get a 9 to 5, you get up on Monday, you go to work, you get home on Friday, have a family before you're 30. You do all of these things because society tells you should, because it's the way it's always been done. That same thing goes for training. You train this way because that's the way it's always been done. There's a great story about a husband and wife where the wife is making ham for dinner and she cuts off the end of the ham. And the husband asks her, he goes, well, why are you cutting off the end of the ham? It's a perfectly good piece of meat. He's like, oh, she's like, I don't know, it's what my mother did. So he went for dinner with the mother, her mother, I think a week later, and he asked her, he goes, why are you cutting off the end of the ham? He goes, it's a perfectly good piece of ham. She's like, oh, I don't know, it's just what my grandmother did. Goes to grandmother, asks her, she's like, oh, why did you cut off the piece of ham? He goes, oh, well, our oven was too small, so I always had to cut it off because I couldn't fit the ham in there. And then that moved down generation to generation. So can you understand how certain ideas, certain principles that have been passed down to you may not have a reason? Certain people do certain things because that's what they've seen, that's what they know. It doesn't necessarily mean it's right. That goes for life and that goes for training. Just because you read in a book that it says, well, do 8 to 10 reps with 2 supersets at the end, that's going to give you the most muscle growth. That's not necessarily true. I would give, they're general recommendations, like they're the general parameters for bodybuilding. If you're doing 3-4 reps, you're not going to stimulate enough hypertrophy, but at least know why. It's because you're not, the cytoplasm of the muscle, you're not stimulating it enough to grow and repair stronger. You're still working through your central nervous system. Understand why that's happening. So ask the question. I know personally, when I start doing CrossFit style works, which might have 500-600 reps in a workout, I explode. I get massive doing CrossFit because my body's, the way my somatotype is, my body's really good at holding size because I'm short and stocky and I've got really short muscle fibers, like the length of my biceps, the length of my legs, they're short. So I can get really, that kind of volume puts on a load of muscle for me. I would never do that with somebody that has like a very active sympathetic nervous system, like a hard gainer, because the reality is you need those calories to grow. But ask yourself your question, why? Are you training a certain way because you were told that way, or are you training a certain way because you know exactly why? Well, this is my end goal. This is the science behind what's backing me up. This is why I need to take this supplement. This is why I need to recover like this. Find your why, because your why is key. And just remember the story with the ham. Are you doing it because that's the way it's always been done? Or are you doing it because it works?